Good afternoon, Redeemer family, and everybody joining us on the internet around the world. Our devotion for today is based on our psalm for Reformation Day. The psalm for Reformation Day is Psalm 46. Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God will help her when morning dawns. The nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice, the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come, behold the works of the Lord, how he has brought desolations on the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. This psalm is the basis for Martin Luther's hymn, A Mighty Fortress. And as we see the psalm is an incredibly powerful message, because what we hear is first in creation, because of its fallenness, we see the things that the psalmist is describing. Starting at verse 2, therefore we will not fear though the earth gives way. We see earthquakes all across the world, in many nations, including our own. And then, though the mountains be moved in the heart of the sea, the erosion that causes. I can think of the erosion along the Lake Michigan bluff as I went to Concordia University, Wisconsin. And they've since taken measures to halt that, but while I was there, they were losing feet every year to the erosion that was caused. And then in addition, we see in verse 3, though its waters roar and foam. And we think about how when there's an earthquake, there's either a tsunami or tidal wave that is caused by that earthquake, and that can do incredible damage. In verse 3, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. The waters, when that takes place, even with hurricanes, the swell of the ocean comes far inland and does a great amount of damage. All of these things cause people to be fearful and overwhelmed with terror because of what's taking place. And remember what verse 1 said. A very present help in trouble is our God. In the beginning of verse 2, therefore we will not fear. Then we get a glimpse in verse 4. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. Think of Revelation chapters 21 and 22, where we're getting a glimpse of the holy city, Jerusalem, the New Jerusalem. And there in those verses, we hear about the city and the river of the water of life running down in the middle of the main street in the city. Its waters clear as crystal. It's a peaceful scene. It's a peaceful scene because God is in control, absolutely in control. And it says, God is in the midst of her, she shall not be moved. God will help her when morning dawns, because God is right there. And then we hear in verse 6, the nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice, the earth melts. There's all kinds of things going on in our world. Nations raging. But then we hear the refrain. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Because of his presence, because of his power. We go back to the first part of verse 2. Therefore we will not fear, because he's in control. And when the war is raging, we continue on in verse 8. Become, behold the works of the Lord, how he has brought desolations on the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow, shatters the spear, and burns the chariots with fire. Even when the peoples rage and wars rage, and we see, war raging in Ukraine still. We still have a threat of war in Gaza, even with a tenuous ceasefire. God can bring it to a halt because he is with us. We don't have to fear war. We don't have to fear natural disaster. We don't have to fear any of that because the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. That's his promise. That's a certainty because of who God is. And so when we hear in verse 10, be still and know that I am God, we notice that verse is in quotations. It's like God saying, cease, quiet, enough. I'm in charge. I'm the one that's exalted. I'm the one that's in control. And with those words, we hear what we heard earlier in verse 2. Therefore, we will not fear, because the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. In his name, amen. Please pray with me. Father in heaven, indeed you are with us. And when we see things raging all around us that might cause us to fear, help us to fall back into your arms and remember that indeed you are with us. You are our rock, our fortress. Strengthen us in the midst of life filled with all kinds of terrible things, that we would remember that you are with us. And there's no need for us to fear. But know that you are in charge in every way. In your name, amen. Have a blessed Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow for our devotion. And may the Lord calm your fears, and assure you of his presence today and always.